guys. When my wife Lori and I have our 4-year-old granddaughter staying with us for the weekend, one of our favorite things to do to get our day started is to load her up in the car and drive over to Dunkin' Donuts. We get our delicious, fresh, hot cup of coffee made just the way we like it. And of course, she gets her strawberry frosted donut and her own box of munchkins. You know, we just love this quality time with her, and Dunkin' Donuts has really become a special part of that for us. With 4 locations and a 5th location opening soon, the Mustafa family's Dunkin' Donuts can provide you that same great experience that we get every time we visit. So if you're in Auburndale, Lake Wales, Davenport, or Winter Haven, make it a point to stop in, grab a fresh cup of coffee and your favorite donut and any other great menu item that they've got, because it's the little things in life that mean the most. And now, back to the show.
Run it, baby. Ricky Cheese, baby!
Good morning, everybody. It is your boy, Ricky Cheese. I am here at the Mikasuki Casino. I am speaking with my producer, Jordan Cohen, on another great episode of The Morning Grind. We're going to be talking of Emmy Hawks Wrestling Camp. Pat Lugo's putting on here. It'll be another great episode, so sit back and relax. Enjoy another episode of The Morning Grind, and stay tuned for the next episode of Grinding for Greatness. The place that he had it at, like, who would have ever thought to have it at a casino? The Mikasuki Indian Casino and Resort, which is where I'm at right now. If you can't tell, I'm in my hotel room, but
that's sure,
amazing. You know, gave the parents something to do, because, and that's another thing, no parents were allowed. They can stand outside and you can look in. You could not put a foot on that mat if you were a parent. Wouldn't let you in. As a matter of fact, I walked on to start taking pictures and you know, recordings and stuff. And Pat, I think it was Pat's brother, David. He started to escort me off the mat. He goes, "I'm sorry, you can't be in here." And I'm like, whoa, relax. He was just messing with me. And he goes, "I'm just messing with you." But no parents are allowed on the mat. There are about 350 kids there, and some of the top wrestlers in the country. I mean, Austin DeSanto, Forrest Molinari, Mark Hall, Max Murin, Michael Kimmerer, Pat Lugo, and it just goes on. It was incredible, and I think whoever missed it this year definitely will not miss it next year. They're going to have to cap it off, because it's, I mean, in its first year, it was very, very popular. Congratulations to Pat. It was a success.
Well, it sounds like Pat Lugo might need to, start doing multiple camps. You know, if it capped off in Miami, you know, we got some casinos up here in the north. Biloxi's got a really big, couple really big casinos. You know, I think he could do just as well, you know, in other locations. You know, he might have found him a nice little business model.
I don't think he would be opposed to that at all, knowing the kind of guy Pat is.
You can tell he loves the sport too. I was going over the videos, the last couple ones with Lugo and Murin and Kemmer, and you know, you can tell that he's put together a real who's who of not only just, you know, technique ability, but how much they really care about you know, not only the kids but also Lugo himself. You know, they're really investing in what he's doing. You know, so it's really cool. I'm really glad to hear that he's had so much success with this just in his first go of things.
I forgot which episode it was of Grinding for Greatness, but it was either with Max Murin or Michael Kimmerer that, you know, I asked them about the camp, and they said that. They said, you know, we're behind Pat. We want to support Pat and what he's building. And it just speaks volumes of what he really meant to that team at Iowa and his teammates. You know, they came from, you know, the Midwest down to South Florida to help him out. And listen, did they get paid? I'm sure, of course they got paid, but you know, it's not life-changing money. They did it more for the love of Pat and the love of the sport. And they were both there doing their thing. Max must be hurt, because he had like a big elbow brace on. So I don't know if he had surgery recently. I don't remember him telling us that.
I mean, he's a D1 wrestler, man. He's always hurt.
Yeah, that's true. They are. As a matter of fact, Zach Sherman from North Carolina is in North Carolina right now getting his second shoulder surgery from injuries that he sustained during his 4 or 5 years there. But the nice thing is the school pays for it. So, I mean, it's the least they could do, right? Gave his body for the school.
So, I mean, just like we were talking on the previous episode, I don't know if it's already came out yet, but, it was on the morning grind with your boy. He's talking about how the D3 school wouldn't pay for all of his stuff, which is ridiculous.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? Yeah, Casey, his son, Chase. Yeah, they wouldn't pay for it. He had a hard enough time getting them to approve an ice bath or whatever. I mean, I never heard of something so ridiculous.
That's weird. I don't know, man.
Crazy.
So, knockout just concluded this last weekend. Congratulations to Alpha. I think Alpha Dogs Wrestling Club. I think they ended up winning the whole thing.
Yeah, Jacob Pryor. No, I think they got second.
Did they get second? Oh yeah, that's right. They lost. The Outsiders won. That's right.
Who's the Outsiders? Who coached that?
I don't remember. I would have to check on the thing. Panhandle sent a team. They ended up getting fifth, led by old John Wainwright.
Oh, nice. What team was that? Do you remember what they were called?
The Panhandle something. There's Panhandles in the name, so they said, like, I was surprised to see them send a team down. They ended up in the championship bracket, and I was like, well, how about that?
That's awesome.
I had a kid. I was telling you the other day. I had a kid go down there that I got on a team like last minute, and he had never been to the knockout before, and he found out how tough that is, which is really good. I'm really glad that he was able to get that experience this early in. He qualified for state last year, and I'm glad he got that look at the beginning of the summer, so he can maybe light a little fire under him.
Yeah,
so
he learned why it's called the knockout.
Yeah, man. I mean, especially with it's grueling too, man. I expected him to get quite a bit of matches, but I think he ended up with 11 matches over the course of 3 days. That's good stuff, man.
Yeah, I thought the summer knockout, may hurt Pat Lugo's Miami Hawks camp. Not even that much. It was just.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. See, like up in North Florida, we run into that of double booking events, being too close together, or bigger events. But up here in North Florida, I don't think that's the biggest problem down south because you have so many kids. Like you could fill up multiple events and it not hurt y'all.
Yeah.
But like up here, I think we run up into the problem of getting so many good events, but then them being so close together in either time or place that it really hurts. I think like Mosley just had. I'm not sure why, so I'm not going to put this as the reason. But I know Mosley just had to cancel a camp this week for one, and I think there was a couple weeks ago that had to cancel because there was just two events that were too close together, and it was kind of pulling a lot of the resources. But them's the break sometimes,
Yeah, that's true. Definitely happens. Not as much down here, but I think the problem, or not a problem, but I think the difference between North Florida and Central or South Florida is just depth, man. We just have so many more kids. So, there you can have multiple tournaments in different areas. Up there, everyone's going to like one tournament. If you have two, it's going to either it's not going to happen or it's going to water it down completely.
Well, I mean, it works out well if it's like a really big tournament, and then like a lot of our better kids are going down south. It gives some of the kids that are just kind of coming up a good chance to shine at these tournaments, especially with the way that we're doing it. I'm not sure if you guys have a lot of events, down south, but we have guys like Jason Westlager. We have Joe McMillan putting on events like the Warzone Spring Series, the Warzone Fall Series. Right now, Joe McMillan's going to be concluding his Gator Cup series here at the end of this weekend. So we have guys that are really trying to, make these special events for kids, and as well as, making it to where kids that are just getting in can get a shot at getting a cool prize or being like, oh, wow, look what I did in my first season, or my second season, my third season. So it does help out. It's just whenever the events are in North Florida at the same time or in the same area, that can kind of kill it. And I mean, it's hard to everybody wants to get good wrestling, but sometimes it comes down to got to figure out how to plan this, properly.
Yep. Yeah, and I love that what McMillan and Wes Lager is doing. I always want to call him Wes Lager. I have to remember it's Wes Lager. What I love about what Joe McMillan and Jason Westlager is doing is they've taken their own little thing and made it like a series. Whereas in South Florida, it's an organization doing that. So you have FAWA doing the Tour of Florida series, and AAU is the IOF, I Own Florida. But up where you are, up north, it's, the war zone or this or that. And it's not from an organization. It's from somebody trying to build something. I freaking love that, man. I love that. Yeah. And I really hope it's getting the support that it needs to grow and, sustain itself.
I think it does very well. It's the kids certainly love it, and definitely with Jason, he comes up with some pretty cool prizes. I think like last one he had 2 sets of hammers and then belts. Yeah. So you get a lot of kids that are, they're very excited to see what their hard work, gets them after 4, 5, 6 weeks of tournaments. So it's really cool. Big shout out to them. Like I said, I know my kids have had great times and have invested in the sport because of it.
Yeah, I love what they're doing up there. And you just reminded me when you just said something about the awards. I can't stand it when you read these posts from these guys saying, "Oh, it's not about the awards. Who cares about what the medals are?" No, it is. It's completely about the awards. Yeah, it's about the wrestling and the competing. But for the youth tournament, maybe not as much as the high school. High school kids might not give a shit. But when you're talking youth wrestling, you're fucking right. It's about the awards. I remember when I was 8, 9, 10 years old, the first thing I did was walk over to the table to see what the awards looked like. And if it was a badass award like a hammer or something like that, I know my ass was wrestling ultra hard for that. Is that right or wrong? Maybe, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, I agree. I think there comes a certain point, especially if it's like, just a regular off-season tournament or something. You do get to the point where you're like, all right, I'm just here to get experience. But just as you were saying, we all start out as that, wrestler that's never gotten a medal or doesn't have, a shelf or whatever you put all your awards on full of it. So getting that very first cool medal, you're like, oh man, look what I got. I can't wait to show this off. So I think I very much agree that having that or having something that they can like show off is very, very cool, especially if it is a unique thing. Like, so Joe and I were just talking about this the other day about how back in the day, you remember the NHSCA tournaments that they used to run back about 15, 20 years ago, and they had the same exact generic medal for which again, a medal is a medal as long as they have it, but I had like 30 of those dang things, right? So it's cool now seeing all the different types of medals and awards that they're able to give and the way they're able to customize it and be like, oh, hey, this is specific for the Gator Brawl in Weewall, right? Or like, it's just really cool. It really is a cool way for people to like look at it like, oh, I got this medal here. Or for example, Queen of the South over in Enterprise, Alabama, they do really cool medals where they're plastic, but they're like a hard plastic. They're superimposed into it. Like they put a lot of detail into it. It's like, man, that's a really cool medal. I could see that hanging up on somebody's thing and it being a talking piece, being like, oh, wow, that's really cool. I got this Queen of the South.
I saw the Queen of the South awards. Kiki Bush from Hudson, Florida, Hudson High School. She was there, and her dad, Rich Bush, really good guy. He posted a couple of pictures, and you're right. Those were very cool awards, and they also had like a little throne that the girls can sit on and take pictures of.
Right, dude. You should. So that was one of the best tournaments I have ever been to. Just well ran, like so. Enterprise High School, huge high school anyway, right? Pretty big high school, and then they ran everything in the gym, which was really nice. Had 4 mats, had a huge bleacher section, and then they had the track wrestling. Screens for every mat, which was really cool. Yep. Then what was really cool for the finals, they put everybody into the auditorium. They were able to lower the lights, and then all the girls that were in the finals were like wrestling on stage. So they got the music, got to do the walkout on stage. It was really cool. I love the presentation that they put into it, the event, from everything, from start to finish, from like promoting the event to the way that they awarded the medals and the crown, and it was a very cool event. I know I'm very excited to go next year.
Yeah, that's awesome for a summer tournament. You don't usually see
No, it's
that.
not. No, that's an in-season tournament.
Oh, okay. Then it makes sense.
They do that. They run that I think December, January. No, it's really cool though, because and girls wrestling is growing, but I feel like sometimes at tournaments they can get a little hosed on the awards. So it's really cool to see them getting, not only just because it's a women's only event, but just a cool presentation. Because like you were saying, sometimes the presentation can elevate the event, right? Like I know, just talking about Queen of the South, we have so many of our freshmen and underclassmen girls that are like, I can't wait to go back to that event next year. I want to be in the finals. I want to be on stage. I want to wear the crown. Like that's the type of excitement that you need to create for tournaments like this.
And what state is the Queen of the South in?
Alabama. They run it in Enterprise.
How far is that from Niceville?
It's not too bad. It's about 2-3 hours.
Okay.
Not too bad at all. I highly recommend any women's coaches are out there looking for a good tournament, especially especially if you have a men's and a women's team and you're trying to get them a special little tournament. Highly recommend Queen of the South.
Now I know you coach the boys at Niceville High School. Are you also the girls coach, or do you have a specific coach just for girls?
We, on paper, we do. We have Coach Rachel Croft, who is actually listed as our female coach. But we have 3 coaches that we spend, just as much time with all of them. Like we all work with everybody. It just, when it comes time, like, hey, we have a tournament over here and the girls have a tournament over here, it helps, knowing like, all right, hey, we're going to have you go. But for the moment, everybody pretty much is, the coach of all of them. We like to work with everybody.
What's Rachel's background?
Well, perfect future, good. As we continue to grow, we would like to continue to, have someone be, maybe like an overall director, and then have someone head up the boys team, the girls team, and a JV team. Or we're trying to grow. We're slowly building up a powerhouse over here at Niceville.
Yeah, what's Rachel's background as far as wrestling?
Oh, dude, Rachel's awesome. If anybody wants to get more on her, I have a episode I did on the North Florida Wrestling Show on her a couple of years ago. But she is from Pennsylvania. She's a 4-time Pennsylvania state champion.
Holy shit!
And she wrestled at Lock Haven back when they just started having a team. Like she was the only girl on the women's wrestling team, so she was having to wrestle with the college men's team.
Wow.
She wrestled women in competition, but for practice she had to do that. But she is a phenomenal coach. She is very, very knowledgeable. We're very, very lucky to have her.
And what's her last name?
It's Groff, but I think that changes pretty soon.
Oh,
she
congratulations to her.
Not in a good not in a good way.
Oh shit! Sorry.
It's changing back to something else.
Okay.
No, she's a phenomenal athlete for sure.
That's awesome how the sport is growing, not just in South Florida, but North Florida. The girls wrestling it's pretty big too.
Yeah, it's taking a little bit of time, but I think we're on a really, really good trend.
Yeah. How many other teams from Florida were at the Queen of the South? Do you remember?
I know Pace was there. I think Choctaw sent their girls. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at it on Track Wrestling, but quite a few. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think that they're on their 5th iteration of it this year.
Who's the top girl in North Florida right now? If you had to name somebody, who would be the top girl?
That Talia girl from Pace is really good. She's pretty special. I'm excited to see how she continues to grow next year. I don't know, man. So that's the thing with we have a lot of girls that are new. So we have a lot of girls that just got that first year under their belt. So yeah. I think you're going to start seeing a lot more of those names probably next year, the year after that. Because I know at least for our side on Niceville, we had most of our women's team were underclassmen. So we're really, really excited to watch those young women grow, especially in this, because I got two that they do. The second that the season was over, they were back training. They were back training hard. They were there at our practices 2 days a week. They got on the Spartan Duels team, went out there, got beat up a little bit. So, and that's not just my guys. I see a lot of that happening around the area. So women's wrestling is looking very strong in North Florida, which, speaking of very strong in North Florida, Valerie Solario is back in Panama City Beach. So if there's anybody trying to get some private lessons or something from there, you should definitely hit her or her dad up and try to get that, because I think she's trying to make some college summer money. And
didn't she sign with Iowa?
Yeah, she signed with Iowa.
Wow.
She'll be hit up there, but I think she's chilling back in Panama City, seeing family and everything. So we might get her to run a camp or a clinic or something over here in Niceville. Try to draw up some summer money so she can enjoy her time down here. But I'm sure if you hit her up, she might do a private lesson. Fargo national champ.
For sure, absolutely. Speaking of Iowa again, kind of jump back into Pat Lugo's Miami Hawks camp. Dude, I saw Austin DeSanto teaching a session, and the entire camp was around him, of course. He's a weird cat, dude. Like, he's teaching something, and I guess a couple of kids were talking, and you can hear in the video that I posted, he's like, "Quiet down. I'm not here for my health, man." Like, he was pissed, dude. Like, that guy is friggin' like not motivate. He's friggin' intense. That guy's intense, whether he's, teaching a move or competing or just chilling out. That's an intense motherfucker, bro.
Well, I mean, he spent 5-6 years hanging out with the Brands brothers. What you expect?
Yeah. He looked. Listen, before he came over to Iowa, when he was still at where did he go at first? Man, I forgot. I know he was at Exeter High School, but what college did he go to? Drexel. When he was at Drexel, he was still an intense little sumbitch, man. I mean, I remember he tried to break Michik's arm at the NCAAs. He hit him with like a Kimura, and he tried to snap the kid's arm because he was losing. But that was when he was a different DeSanto. He kind of they tamed him a little bit, I guess, and he still looks like a lunatic. But I give that kid a lot of respect. The change, you can see the change that he's made in the years that he was with the Brands brothers. But I think Lugo likes him a lot, man. He brought him down here, and he trained with Lugo. So I'm sure he would credit Pat Lugo for a lot of his success. But it was cool to see him so intense with the kids. I don't know how the parents felt, but I thought it was pretty cool, man. And then, Mark Hall was, what's that? Go ahead.
I thought it said parents aren't allowed in the thing, so they got to worry about it.
Well, no, they could watch. They were within about 20, 30 feet. So the way it is, it's in a banquet room, but it's all open. But they have like little barricades from the match to where the parents had to be behind the little barricades. So they could see and hear everything. It was just from a distance. But I tell you what, man, I wouldn't care, man. If my kid was the one talking, I'd be embarrassed. I'd want him to be told to shut the hell up, especially when you got a guy like DeSanto. And he was teaching his famous fireman's carry. That dude's got, so you think fireman's carry. Okay, how many variations is there? I don't know, dude. He does it much differently than I've ever seen. Just the little adjustments that he was teaching just changes the whole move. I mean, a fireman's still a fireman, but I guess you have to see it to understand what I'm saying. But he's got some great shit.
Yeah, fireman's is one of the moves. There are a bunch of different ways, and it's a lot of it does come down to just preference.
Yeah,
it's always hard. That's something that I always try to like preface whenever I'm teaching something, especially like if it's to a bunch of kids. I'm like, hey, this is the way that I do it. This is the way that I have found success. I've tried, you can do it this way, this way, this way. This is my preferred method. If you find a better way and it works for you, I'm not going to sit there and tell you not to do it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm just telling you like this is the way that, I hit it. Right. Some people like to do, I know for me, I like to try, I like to pull that arm down really low, get that head over, and then try to roll them that way, right? And I think DeSanto doesn't. It's either him or Spencer Lee where they get it and then they just dump them over forward, right?
That's Spencer Lee. He does it.
Yeah,
DeSanto does it more of your way.
yeah. So I mean, there's different ways. It's just however you like it. I know my 120 pounder hit it the way that Spencer Lee does it, and about broke my ribs.
You got to watch it, man. We were talking this morning, man. You're having your tea and going to bed at 8 p.m. You're turning into an old man.
Well, I feel like that's what's contributing to my longevity is I go to bed early and I drink teas.
That's
I'm
what it
waiting
is.
for it, man. I'm trying to stay in as long as I can, man. You know what I'm saying?
It's funny. I was talking to my wife last night before I went to bed here in the hotel because she stayed home because she would have been bored out of her mind. But I was telling her, it was nice. Pat Lugo invited me out with them because, the camp ended yesterday. Today's the tournament, which I'm going to have to go in a little bit. But the camp ended last night. So I guess Pat and all his clinicians and buddies, they all went out last night. They were going to Catch of the Day, which is a pretty nice restaurant. And then they were going to, like a nightclub type place, dance place. And he's like, hey, man, if you want to chill, man, we're all going out and, whatever. And I was like, dude, man, I appreciate the offer. I'm going to let you guys have fun. Do your thing. I'll catch you in the morning. Dude, I can't hang, man. I can't. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't.
Don't feel bad because if it was me and I was down there, my idea of going out would be going out to a nice little hookah bar, drinking some tea from the Egyptians or the Turks or whoever's manning it, and then just sitting there and enjoying my night and then go to bed.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the place that they were going, I forgot the name of it. But I looked it up online and they have hookah there. And I still to this day, I don't know what a hookah is. So explain that to me.
So all it is, it's just like it's a long pipe. So it's a traditional like Arabic thing. You see it a lot in Arabic countries, like Egypt is very popular. You see a lot of hookah, Morocco, Turkey, etc., etc. So then they take a tobacco type thing called shisha, and it's like flavored tobacco. You can get a lot of stuff without the nicotine or whatever, and you just sit there and puff on it. Like it's the same thing like a cigar. You shouldn't. Yeah, but same thing. You shouldn't inhale it. It's really just puff it, take the flavor, and you just sit there. You drink some tea, listen to the music, hang out with people. It's a good time.
So, like with a cigar, people like to have like certain drinks with it, like a brandy or something. They say it enhances the flavor of the cigar. Is that same thing with like the hookah?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm not that big of a drinker. And then another thing too is with a lot of Arabic or Muslim countries, they don't drink. So there are a lot of places. If it's like
no, but you said tea. You said tea.
Yeah, I just enjoy tea. I enjoy the Moroccan teas, Egyptian teas, a lot of the teas that you end up getting at some more authentic places where, like I said, it's usually ran by a Muslim, so they don't have they don't do alcohol, so they'll have like teas or whatnot instead. If you're at like a more place where it's not as much traditional, where it's like more like a nightclub, then you'll get drinks. I don't drink much anyway. I think that's another big part of why I'm able to stay. I don't want to say youthful, but still able to kind of get out there. Is that I don't drink much. I don't eat a lot of like bad food. I still have cheat days. Yeah, I got cheat days from here and there, but I try to keep it within a nice little limit.
Yeah. I don't drink just because I don't like the taste of alcohol. I never have. I mean, I'll drink, if I'm at a wedding or something, I'll have a drink socially, but you'll never see me with a drink normally.
Dude, I'll tell you what I like about this generation is I feel it, and I think this plays in hand as to why we have so many just outstanding super athletes. I think there's a lot of people kind of stepping away from the drinking. I think you have a lot of kids that are feeling more confident and saying like, yeah, drinking's not that fun, or like it doesn't do that much for me, or just like Pat Lugo was talking about on his episode, talking about I have to sacrifice my time to drink, like me drinking or me going out. Obviously it's a little bit different now that he's a bit out of competition. He's more of a businessman. He can relax a little bit, But in his mind, he's like, why do I want to go do that? That's me sacrificing,
Right.
my potential, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
me letting other people decide what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I love seeing the focus that a lot of these athletes have. Well-rounded focus too. A lot
Yeah.
of kids will, I feel like, say like, "Oh, I'm focused. I'm working hard." And it's like, no, you're working hard on one aspect of it, while your nutrition is shit, while
Right.
your sleeping habits is shit, while you're going out and drinking with your buddies that aren't doing as well as you, and you're starting to get closer to where they're at, instead of finding those people that are, no, I'm gonna go and do my homework and I'm gonna sleep because I got training
Mm-hmm.
at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. Yep, for sure. All right, it's about that time. It's 8:30. I got to get down there and check out some of the action, and we'll definitely talk about this tournament on probably the next morning grind.
Morning, Greg.
Yeah,
Hey, maybe we get some of the clinicians on, talk about, have Pat Lugo and DeSanto and everybody talk about how
yeah,
successful it was.
yeah. That'd be cool if we can get a few of them on one episode. I'll talk to Pat this morning about that. We'll try to make that happen for everybody. That would be a really cool episode. But have a great rest of your day. I'm going to check out the tournament. Then I'm going to drive home and give my wife the rest of my weekend.
I'm sure she'll love it. All right, Laura, we appreciate you, girl.
She'll love to hear that, because she wasn't so thrilled that I was going to be gone the whole weekend. She's like, I need help doing the sprinklers. I guess we have this setting for our sprinklers that I'm not a handy guy. So while I was gone yesterday, she spent hours out there trying to figure it out, and she figured it out, but she needs help with something. So when I get home, I'm on sprinkler duty.
Honey, do this.